First of all, everything I'm about to say on this video is absolutely false. These are chronicles of a fictional character by the name of Damn Fool who feel like his life been cursed. So let's get on with the recording. I don't have much to say, man. I'm just laying on my back right now. Probably can tell by the sound of my voice. And it's crazy, man. It's hard to even get up and do videos with the vigor. You know what I'm saying? And, the vigor and charisma, that it takes to do stuff, do certain videos. Like I said, I'm trying the podcast name, but I don't really come up with a lot of ideas, man. Really uninspired. What I'm more inspired to do is chronicle these things and events I'm coming up with, which are, by the way, becoming very easy. Stuff is pretty much just falling out of the sky, and I'm coming up with a whole. Even though I've been had these answers for quite some time, I've never had a way to put it in words or to even feel comfortable putting it in words. But the universe is just creating so much content for me to feed off of, and it's about time since it's been feeding off me. You know what I mean? So it's about time to reciprocate. Now, it's crazy, man. This whole thing is evolved around a certain type of narcissism. I don't think I'm narcissistic at all under normal circumstances. As a matter of fact, I feel the narcissism that I do have or did have is necessary narcissism. You have to be narcissistic to want to rise above and beyond, to even think that you have to even have the audacity to have the will to want to progress, and do better in life. You know what I mean? It takes a certain narcissism, and which has never left, even though my confidence has faded. You know what I'm saying? My brain is atrophied, you know what I'm saying? Basically, it's just been swept clean. And earlier today, man, and last night, I tried to do some videos, and the words just wasn't coming to me. Like right now, I just felt this burst of inspiration. And that I'm extremely thankful for, you know what I mean? Because like I say, man, just to chronicle my life and based on what I've already said, if you haven't heard what I said, is this is extremely difficult to do. To get on camera and say that I'm slow or I'm retarded or I have been retarded, based on external forces. I wasn't born slow. I wasn't slow in school. I wasn't retarded at school. You know what I mean? I didn't have a problem making friends or being a likable person or having a magnetic personality or being a creative person. All of those things are issues I started dealing with as an adult, and they become more and more I guess well, I hate when I can't find words I'm trying to use, man, but become more and more I want to say profound, but profound ain't the word I'm looking for. You know what I'm saying? Expressed. You know what I mean? So yeah, they become more and more expressed as time has gone on. And I believe that, this is what I seriously believe, that it's a engineering experiment to control the climate, the mood, and set the limitations of a person. I feel like my mother, which is a very hard thing to say, beautiful woman, man. She's been with me every step of the way, give me everything I want, but cut me with her words at the same time, in a demeanor and, not really caring about the issues that I deal with and showing less of a concern because it's more about what she wants and what she signed up for. Even her husband, had his ear to him like, dude, you need to hurry up and die so we can get this paper. And these strong accusations to throw at people, man. But, I got to walk this life and look these people in the face while I deal with them. You know what I'm saying? So I apologize if I'm wrong, and you heard the disclaimer, so this is entertainment. Look at it like that. But, so yeah, those are real issues. You know what I'm saying? And, hell, I don't even know where I was, you know what I'm saying? But basically, it just feels like that was something that I was put into and against my will. And it's the only thing that really makes sense, when you see how things work themselves out. And crazy as it may sound, at the pace I'm going in, I am thankful for the things that I do have. You know what I'm saying? But at a certain level, I feel like this is a form of martial law. You know what I'm saying? A form of a concentration camp. I mean, I couldn't come up with the concepts I come up with if I wasn't concentrating on them. You understand what I'm saying? So, yeah, so it's an awkward experience, if I do say so myself. And I hate playing the victim role. But when you notice a bunch of stuff happening to you and you don't have no outlet, this is like the only outlet I have. I made the comparison to feeling like Aaron Neville, you know what I'm saying, on I Am Legend, or even a robot on Our Robot, or even the Lord of the Rings, put the ring on and all kind of crazy shit happen, I mean, I could compare this to a lot of different concepts. But the crazy part about it is growing up as a youth and what got me here. And I don't even know if I ever spoke on this before, but I will now. You know what I'm saying? I always fantasize. I ain't even fantasize, man. I always pictured myself in like grandiose settings. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, I don't know if I seen myself owning islands or anything extravagant like that, but I definitely seen myself there. You know what I'm saying? Available there, telling jokes, laughing, being liked, being respected as a person. You know what I'm saying? Being somebody that mattered, to the folks that whose life I changed and whose life I made better. And I always seen that, man. I didn't never look at myself like a burden on society or somebody that had to take drastic measures to make it to the other side. Even though I wasn't opposed to doing it. You gotta remember, I'm just like everybody else, but I didn't have a concept of this selling your soul thing, killing people, and you know what I'm saying, and ritual sex acts and all this old stuff, man. That wasn't in my peripheral. The more stuff like that started coming, the more it started dimming the light, as I would say. You know what I'm saying? But I still feel like the same person. I feel like I still want the same things. But I'm not superficial either. You understand? So, when you see me just lounging around the hood and putting on a Fruit of the Loom shirt, and some, and one shorts I got at Walmart with some Adidas flip flops. It ain't that I don't want more or that I'm, into a mundane existence. I mean, that's really what life is all about. I believe that when you make the money, you spend the money accordingly. I heard a lot of people say dress the part and all that, man, but I came from a time frame and I came from a time frame, man, where artist was artist. You know what I'm saying? And if I feel like being an artist, you can't outfly me. You know what I'm saying? It's just impossible. You know what I'm saying? If I was in a position, to strut my stuff, it just would be impossible unless, a motherfucker dress, unless it was something against my will. But just match for match, dollar for dollar, I'm gonna always do my thing. That's just what that is. But when I don't have it, I don't feel like I need to dress up to it. And I'm speaking to the money gods, you know what I'm saying? That's out there, man. Because I hear a lot of stuff. I hear people say shit like, you don't need much, you don't want much. It ain't all about the money. You have to dress the part, look the part, and act the part, and all that. And I say, man, I will look the part and act the part when I'm the part. You know what I'm saying? That's the only thing that makes sense to me. I mean, why would you, especially these cats nowadays really lost their mind. When I was in my heyday, I mean, you can get sharp, man. You can go get some Liz Claiborne, slacks and shirts, and you be in the game. You want to get clean in the hood. You throw on a Coogee sweater, you know what I'm saying, and some Levi's, Coogee pants, You can even throw on some Sean John Rockaware. You was in the game. You was alright, iceberg. But these cats nowadays is in the Gucci and Louis and shit like that. Insane shit, you know what I'm saying? And I'm not the type of person to wear fake shit neither. If I do, it's cause a nigga got me and got me good. And for the most part, I don't believe in wearing fake clothes. So if I'm not keeping up with the Joneses and the messages are coming through, cross and mixed messages that, I accept a mundane living, you know what I'm saying? Man, I'm an artist. Even though, right at the particular moment, I'm not 100% aware of what my talents are. Because what my talents were have been depleted. I mean, if you listen to the damn Food Chronicles, you're going to hear a lot of that, man. It sounds like a why me story, but you got to understand. This shit is very bizarre. And it may be something to be afraid of because it may be a lot of people going through this and don't even have a way of knowing. Because the only reason I have a way of knowing is because I'm faced with it every day. You know what I'm saying? The game responds. It responds to me. You know what I'm saying? And I have been to this invisible school long enough to interpret, what the game is saying. And basically what it's saying is you have been fucked over royally. You know what I'm saying? And just to give you some highlights, But like I said, the game ain't very helpful, you know what I'm saying? So it's not telling me, who did what, you know what I'm saying? As a matter of fact, it'll steer you down the wrong path sometimes. But when I'm telling you that I'm receiving messages and receiving energy, you know what I'm saying, from this false reality that's a real reality on a certain realm is absolutely true. You know what I'm saying? And for whatever reason, up until this point, it has been a thorn in my side every time I try to progress further in life. You know what I mean? Even when I'm, progressing in a mundane level, people have been, sent out to sabotage, what little accomplishments I may have made or can't even get going off the ground. And once I realized that I'm living in the matrix and everybody is Agent Smith, it got very interesting, to say the least. And it's a lot of different ways that you can take. With this being Damn Fool Chronicles, you would think I'm expecting the worst of the worst, but I'm a very optimistic person, and I'm trying to look at different ways of alchemy, to turn this thing around. Even though I'm being monitored 100% of the time, every which way I go, and it's almost like the more I'm under a certain amount of stress, the better off, the enemies or whatever you want to call these people that oppose me are. Almost like if I win, they lose on a certain level. So that's an interesting aspect. I didn't have a whole lot I wanted to say, man. I just felt inspired, man. The words were coming to me. And this mean absolutely nothing. This ain't really chronicling anything, man. It's just, I thought I would speak, and clear up some other things, while I'm just chronicling, man. So every chronicle ain't gonna be the same. Everything ain't gonna fit in a storyline. Sometimes some shit is just pretty much venting. You know what I'm saying? Pretty much venting and trying to stay. Well, not even trying to stay, man. I hate the fact that people think that that we are savages. That I'm a savage. You know what I'm saying? That even if you dumb me down, you get a certain response out of me. And when I'm able to respond, I will still stick to that stereotype. I've always wanted to do better, man. Even when I was in the street, I guess I will tell a bit of a story. You know what I'm saying? Because, if anything was to happen to me, man, I'm not squeaky clean. And you see a lot of these guys, man, they go out in the blaze of glory, and the first thing the news do is bring up their past. And my past ain't squeaky clean, man. I was a rapper, so of course, at some time or another, I got enticed into the drug culture, you'll say, which is basically just nigga shit. You know what I'm saying? You gotta understand, man. If I was to take the time, right, which I really don't feel like doing, but I would have to paint the picture of being a young kid in the ghetto, no sense of style. I mean, I have plenty of sense of style, so don't get it twisted, but not a strong sense of not a strong sense of style or a strong sense of who I am. You know what I'm saying? Raised by women in a neighborhood where everybody was raised by women. The highlights of the day was sports and listen to the OGs tell stories. You know what I'm saying? And so yeah, man. Like I say, when as time go on, some of the cats that you grew up with, maybe a little older than you, they get to the level of where they start living kind of risky. We go from stealing out the store to some of these cats going to hardcore things, robbery. Some even dabble into the drug game. But at the time it's still pretty taboo. You just growing up looking at it. But at the same time, you're getting music blasting in your ear. You're getting, movies starting to, instead of watching Scarface, now you watch Nino Brown. And as you're rapping, you're noticing that, and I'm always hardcore, even when I was a little kid. It was always pretty much my personal version of hardcore. You got to remember, I didn't have a worldly view. I came from a very small, even though I live in a big city, I came from a small neighborhood that wasn't really cultured in activity. So a kid was free to be a kid. You know what I'm saying? I was into Michael Jackson and, a boy band, The Boys. Before The Boys, I was at a New Edition. You know what I'm saying? So, Ronnie, Bobby, Mickey, and Mike. I like the girls who curse, but you like, simple shit. So, I rap like that. And compared to that, it's pretty fucking hardcore. But, we fucking kids, man. So, yeah, with that being said, the hood get tougher. Everybody get tougher. You right there, right along with them, And so to wrap it up in a nutshell, you end up looking for an opportunity to make money, you know what I'm saying, and to pretty much just be one of the boys and get your turn, get your rites of passage, to wear your jewelry, flex your peas, and ride around the city and have things. You waiting for your turn, and that's basically how it works. Unfortunately, it wasn't no careers around us. You may have knew somebody that was the apartment janitor. You may have seen people go to work, but you didn't know what the fuck they did. You didn't know a dentist or a doctor, or a machinist, or even a welder, simple shit. You would have to go to the country and see people like this, and you would underestimate their level of success, because even though these guys had houses with acres, they went overalls and had, shitty haircuts, if they had haircuts at all. They just looked fun in style. So, city boy growing up on fucking New Jack City is not appealing. You know what I'm saying? To see an old man with some funny looking overall, chewing on a fucking cigar, chewing on a fucking pipe, you know what I'm saying? Even though this the dude that you probably should be looking at. It's the dude who bank account probably sitting on 100, but you don't know that. So anyway, back up. So and I don't even remember where I was going with it. I know I was going to tell you about having a robbery case, which basically I had nothing to do with it. Never robbed a person a day in my life. You know what I'm saying? But I did watch a fight turn bad, turn into a robbery, turn into a dude, getting beat up and getting his jewelry taken, Ended up 2-on-1. It started out 1-0, ended up 2-on-1, put it like that. And dude pressed charges on me. Go figure, It felt like I should have helped him when I did help him. You know, I just didn't help him fight. And so, you know, if there's anything, such thing as karma, you could say that what I'm going through as a damn fool is karma from what that guy went through. And I can say it may have it may work or something like that, but in my defense, I'll tell the story. It was a guy, you know, I moved to the suburbs at 14, and right going to the ninth grade. You know, it's ninth grade year. I moved there as soon as school started. So as I was moving in, it was another fella that was in the 8th grade. He should have been in my grade, but he was in the 8th grade. So we didn't even go to the same school. You know, 8th grade back then was junior high school. Dallas, in my city. I don't know how it is in other places, but 8th grade is a totally different school. Not even a couple of miles from each other. So needless to say, I didn't know the fella, but I knew he was there. You know what I'm saying? I seen his face, and we lived in the same apartment complex or whatever. So, you know, the fella was moving out while I was moving in. You know what I'm saying? And I ended up moving out. So, you know, time go by, man. You know, kids, man, it's not really playing it straight, skipping school, basically dropping out, on the verge of dropping out. You know, we end up on the phone. You know, while we supposed to be at school, you know, we finding like minds. In other words, other kids that ain't going to school. So, you know, he happened to be one of them. That through a friend of a friend of a friend of a friend, we find ourselves talking on the phone. And what we have in common is I live in the apartments that he left. So my new friends are what he would consider his old friends. You know what I'm saying? I'm not knowing. I'm just knowing these dudes is actually younger than me. So we bringing the funk to him. We kind of like exposing new stuff to him, but they was more, you know, they was more grabbing the bull by the horns, and you know, we was more just having fun type shit. They was like trying to prove that they was that they wasn't in our shadow no more. Put it like that. Me and a couple of my other partners. So needless to say, man, you know, it was a lot of violence, you know what I'm saying, going on around that time. And you know, the violence was exciting. So, you know, I'd be on the phone, I'd be talking to this cat, telling him shit. He like, oh man, I need to come back to the hood to see y'all, boy. I'm like, nigga, come on. You know what I'm saying? All we gonna do is have some fun, man, and, you know, get into some shit. Just do shit that our parents wouldn't approve of, you know. But anyway, you know, all those advances, the guy never came, never visited me, you know what I'm saying? But the guy had a cousin that lived up the block in a next set of apartments that we didn't have no beef with. As a matter of fact, we was a huge, we were pretty much a conglomerate. When we got together, we was 10, 20 deep with my apartments and their apartments. So, you know, we was all friends, you know what I'm saying? So he would visit his cousin, and while he was visiting his cousin one day, unbeknownst to me, I hadn't talked to the cat, Lord knows how long, you know, and we didn't talk often, you know what I'm saying? But whenever I talked to him, I was always showing love, you know what I'm saying? We had mutual friends. I've always been that way, man. I've never been the type of person that act like I don't know people, you know. I accept everybody, which may have been a flaw. So the cat come to the hood, you know what I'm saying? Come walking to the hood from his cousin's house, coming to my apartments. So we look up like, who is this cat? You know, everybody on go, you know, ready to do something. Oh man, that's Joe. what that nigga doing over here? You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, oh man, I've been hollering at that cat. So I go holler at him, speak to him, dap him up, hug him, show him love. And little do I know, the guys in the hood ain't really fitting him. Now, like I said, before I started hanging with the cats in the hood, they were still young puppies. And little did I know, this guy was a bully. You know what I'm saying? Before he left. So they had it in for him. Now that they done grew up and done learned how to fight, done got a little confidence, they want to challenge him to, the way he used to kind of throw his weight around as a kid. And I wasn't there, so I don't know about bullying and all that. I just know that they had something they wanted to show him. But I didn't know this. So anyway, I started seeing the little hints and the signs. The dude had a little jewelry on. He had on a link chain, herringbone, pretty decent size, 2 big nugget earrings. And, telling stories about his drug escapades in his new neighborhood. And the type of weaponry they have and, the gang violence. But what they wasn't believing him, you know what I'm saying? So they was wanting to test his gangster. And so I seen my partner rub on his chest, like right where the gold was. And I heard my other partner say, I'm already on top of that. So I looked at both of them, and I took dude by the neck, walked off, told him, say, let's go in the house. So me being a cat that I am, not really not knowing how to word things, man. I didn't want the cat to feel, like I was questioning his gangster. So I kind of put myself in his shoes and told him, hey man, I don't know what's going on, but it's either me or you, because I'm noticing a lot of eye contact between these cats, man. And I live here, bro, but you don't. So I think it's time for you to call your mom, have her come pick you up. Don't even walk back over your kinfolk house. Call your mama, have her pick you up from here. You know what I'm saying? So of course he, sticking his chest out and telling me about all this tough guy stuff. And, I'm knowing he got the message. And I'm like, hey, man, all that's good, man. Just live to see another day. Call your mama. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to see you getting in no trouble. I'm not exaggerating at all. This is exactly how the story went. You know what I'm saying? As a matter of fact, I'm probably not telling it well enough. I'm tired.